want to turn our attention to Turnberry now and President Trump. Let's bring in Connor Gillis, who is courtside. Courtside? You are Teesside, aren't you, at Turnberry for us, Connor? Let's just bring you in because you've been having a bit of an interaction, we believe, between you and the President. He was close to you at one point playing golf, and you've been trying to kind of pose some of the key questions to him this morning.
Yeah, that's right. We are just on the edge of Trump Turnberry, and the President himself has been playing for a second day here on the course that he says is the best in the world. And let's get straight to business. The politics comes later in the form of that showdown with the EU Commission President Ursula von der Leyen to try and thrash out that EU deal that the President has said there's still some issues to iron out, and they will discuss that later on. Well, the President was here and we managed to catch a word with Donald Trump himself. First of all, we said, how are you enjoying the course? He said it was the best in the world. And then I asked him, do you think today is the day that you will get a deal with the EU? Is it any closer? And in response to a question from Sky News, he said it was 50-50. And that shows you the high stakes surroundings of these talks with Ursula von der Leyen later today here at Turnberry. I can also tell you that yesterday, you know, it may seem trivial, but it's interesting nonetheless, given it's the President of the United States of America. Yesterday, when Donald Trump was on the course here behind me, he arrived with a soundtrack, music blaring, if you want to call it a mobile disco, from his golf buggy, blasting out the music. Well, today, at this particular point in the course, he was very quiet. There was no music at all. And then when he swung round in this direction down here, if we come round, this is the moment that he came down here. And because a number of protesters had gathered on the grassy bank, then came some music in an attempt to drown those out. Now, our producer, Kezia, well, she had Shazam on standby for that very moment, but I can tell you it was a sense of jazz music. But anyway, back to the serious stuff. I think we can now hear that exchange on Sky News between ourselves and the US President Donald Trump. Let's have a listen. Can you get a deal with the EU today? So that was the second part of that exchange with Donald Trump just before he once again repeated that line when I asked him about the Turnberry course, the best in the world, he said, and 50-50 was his response directly when asked about that EU deal. Look, this is mixing politics and play. Yesterday, the President was not up for answering any questions when we asked him around the Jeffrey Epstein crisis that is engulfing the White House. Today was a slightly different story, but as we know with the President, he decides what he wants to do, whether he talks or not. Today, he chose to speak to Sky News.